If all those people were still going to be standing in the back, hang on, the mic's not working. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Oh, yeah. If all those people were still standing in the back, I probably would have cut my homily down by 5 minutes. But now that everyone has a seat, it's comfortable. A first-year student in Catholic seminary was told by the dean that he should plan to preach the homily in chapel the following day. He was up for diaconate ordination. He had never yet preached a homily, so he was nervous and afraid, and he stayed up all night. But in the morning, he didn't have a homily. He stood at the pulpit, looked out at his classmates, and said, "Do you know what I'm going to say?" All of them shook their heads, "No." And he said, "Neither do I. The service is ended. Go in peace." The rector wasn't too happy. He said, "I'll give you another chance tomorrow, and you had better have a homily then." Again, he stayed up all night, and again, he couldn't come up with a homily. Next morning, he stood in the pulpit and asked, "Do you know what I'm going to say?" All of his classmates shook their head, "Yes." He said, "Then there's no reason for me to tell you. The service is ended. Go in peace." Now the rector was angry. He said, "I'll give you one more chance, and if you don't have a homily tomorrow, out of the seminary you go." Again, up all night, no homily came. He stood in the pulpit the next day and asked, "Do you know what I'm going to say?" Half of the students nodded, "Yes." The other half of the students nodded, "No." He said, "Those who know, tell those who don't know. The service is ended. Go in peace." The seminary dean walked over to the student, put his arm around him, and said, "Those who know, tell those who don't know. Now the gospel has been proclaimed." What a wonderful thought for us on Easter Sunday. Those who know, tell those who don't know. We look to our gospel today, and 3 days after Jesus died, they ran to the tomb, and there the stone was rolled away. And what was their first thought? He's risen from the dead? No! Their first thought was, somebody stole it. Were they listening when he said he was going to rise from the dead? They didn't understand. But later on, in that very same gospel, Mary Magdalene is alone at the tomb. And she turns around and sees someone standing there, and she presumes it's the gardener. Until finally the eyes connect, and the thoughts connect, and everything happens at once, and she recognizes the gardener, to be Jesus. And as soon as she recognized him, she runs fast to go tell the disciples that he was raised from the dead, as he said. The alternate gospel for today is a story from Luke's gospel that I'm sure you're familiar with, about the two disciples walking back from Jerusalem to their home in Emmaus, 7 miles away. And they are dejected. They are sad because their beloved Jesus was dead. And that's all. He died. And they put him in a tomb, and they rolled the stone away. And the stone was rolled back. No Jesus. Stolen. They're walking back, and all of a sudden, a stranger appears to them who they don't recognize as Jesus. And they start to tell the stranger all the things that happened in Jerusalem from Holy Thursday to Easter Sunday. And all of a sudden they say, "Well, rather than continue, why don't you eat with us?" And when the stranger broke the bread, all of a sudden they recognized the stranger to be Jesus. And they had a personal encounter with him, and then they hightailed it back to Jerusalem to tell their friends that, yes, it's true, he rose from the dead. There's a pattern. Do you see the pattern? Once the disciples and Mary Magdalene had a personal experience of Jesus risen from the dead, then the pieces started to fall together. Do you remember the 5th Sunday of Lent, the story of Lazarus being sick and Jesus being summoned, and he waited. He waited. He didn't go to his friend's side when his friend was sick. He waited till his friend died. And when he got there, Martha, one of the sisters, said, "Lord, if you had been here, our brother would never have died." And he said, "Do you believe that your brother will rise?" She said, "Yes, I believe he'll rise on the last day." And Jesus' famous words, "I am the resurrection and the life." I am the resurrection. It's personal. The resurrection isn't an idea. It isn't a concept. It isn't something remote from us. It's present, right there. It's personal in the person of Jesus Christ. And when we can have a personal encounter with Jesus Christ, present in the Scriptures, present in the Eucharist we're about to consume, present in this gathering, this huge gathering in McKinnon Hall, when we can have a personal encounter with Jesus Christ, then we can go and tell those who don't know about Jesus. Our whole lives become witness to the resurrection. We become the hands, the feet, the very person of Jesus Christ to all of our sisters and brothers. Our world is hungering for that personal presence of Jesus, isn't it? We are hungering for that personal presence of Jesus. The good news is Jesus died. He rose. He came back to be with us. We have every opportunity on any given day to have a personal encounter with Jesus Christ. We just have to take the time. We just have to open our eyes. We just have to hold out our hands to those who may know and come and want to show us who might be doubting for that moment. It is a very, very potent message today's Scriptures offer us. Jesus is alive. He's in our midst. He's within us. He'll enter into commune with us in a few seconds. We have a job to tell the rest of the world that he has indeed risen, and he's here